Right then, well today on the How We Used to Live project we've got Barbara Dixon. Hello Barbara.
How do you do?
I'm alright, thank you very much. You've selected some questions, so we might as well start with number one. Okay. Have you always lived in Bramley, and if not, where did you live originally?
90% of the time I've lived in Bramley. For 7 years I moved over to Kirkstall because my mum wanted a bungalow.
Okay, right, okay. So, how clean was your local area where you grew up? And I'm assuming you grew up in Bramley.
I did. And of course it was much cleaner because everybody looked after their own little bit. When you'd finished your washing, you got a bucket and you went outside and you swirled your pavement.
Right, and put a little bit of white on the step.
On the steps and on the edge of the grates, yeah.
Yeah. Right, a bit of black bright on the grape as well.
And
On the
we
grape? Great.
Yeah. You can't do it now because of laws on safety, but you used to do your own cleaning of your snow as well.
Yeah, well, that's a moot point, is that? Because they reckon if you clear the snow away and somebody falls, it's your fault.
It's your fault.
Yeah. So, what's the biggest changes you've seen in Leeds in all this time?
Now then, tell me what question that is.
Oh, well, that's in this order. That's question number 6 on this.
All right. One-way streets, and it's number 5 on mine.
Right, okay.
Yeah. One-way streets, and when my dad got to the back end of his life, he didn't know where on earth he was in Leeds.
Right.
Because he used to be able to go all over.
Right.
Well, then when they made it one-way streets, he hadn't a clue.
No, my son gets lost in the loop as well,
Yeah.
strangely enough.
Oh, I probably would myself.
So, next one. Do you think the meals are different now than they were when you were a child?
Definitely. Mum made all my meals when I were a child.
Right.
Now, you get them out of the freezer and you put them in a microwave.
Well, yeah, I suppose it's a lot easier, man. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Especially if you live on your own.
well, yes, of course, it's a lot easier if you're living on your own,
Yeah.
because cooking for one is
Yeah,
painful
when you
sometimes.
finish cooking, you don't want it.
Well, yeah. You can't get like that donkey. You just get used to not eating when you die. What's the most memorable Christmas that you can remember, and what made it so special?
My most memorable Christmas was when my mum and dad got me a full-size two-wheeler bike. They hadn't a lot of money, so what they did, someone where my mum worked wanted a sewing machine. I wanted a bike, so they did a swap.
Did a swap bartering system.
And of
yeah.
course, the bike was down, propped against the piano. And I couldn't get it upstairs, so I took the pump. I said, I've got a pump, so I've got a bike for Christmas. Yeah, and I'll never forget
Oh,
that.
brilliant. Oh, brilliant. Oh, yeah. So thinking about the one, again, when you were a child, what were your favourite sweets? How much did they cost?
It cost coppers. Now, just how many coppers, I cannot remember. But I used to love kale-eye.
Right,
And you got a
with
sore
licorice stick.
finger.
Oh, you did use it with your finger?
Yeah,
You didn't get a licorice
wet
stick
your
to go with
finger.
it?
Yeah, yeah, I'm not keen on licorice. So you licked your finger, dipped it in, so you had a sore finger and a yellow tongue or whatever colour.
Yeah, depending on the colour of kale-eye you got, yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it called kale-eye, do you know?
Why what?
Why is it called kale-eye?
I've no idea. Because I still call it kale-eye, whether they're doing it shop. There was a shop in Pudsey that sold old-fashioned sweets. And I didn't find it for years, but as soon as I found it, I had some kale-eye.
Good for you. How many people lived in your childhood home?
3.
3. You, your mum and your dad?
Yeah.
No siblings then?
No.
Right,
I'm an
okay.
only one.
You're an only one, well, all right.
I should have had a brother, but unfortunately he died 2 days old.
Oh dear.
And he would have been 2 or 3 years older than me.
All right, okay, so you never knew, okay.
Yeah.
So what was the first address you can remember?
My address was 52 Broad Lane, and I was taken there from birth, and we left in approximately 1972.
Same address till 1972?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So from 42 to 72.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So during that time, who was the inspiration for you when you were young?
My dad. My dad, and there was a gentleman at chapel called Mr. Walker Bennett, who, it depends whether you're born in Leeds, but him and another gentleman had a wallpaper designing place down in Kirkstall.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. But it was the most gentleman that you could ever wish
And
to
he,
be.
and he inspired you?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So, what age did you get your first job, and what was it?
Oh, well, I went top notch. So I was 15, and I don't know whether Philip can remember, but I went to work in Thompson's Bakery.
Where was Thompson's Bakery? I don't know.
Thompson's Bakery was on Wesley Terrace, next to Trinity Church, and he was a big friend of Silvio Lanfranchi.
Right.
If you
No, I don't
Silvio's
know.
were a top-notch confectioners, and so were Thompson's.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you started at the top and worked your way down.
I was hoping to get to the top, but I started at the bottom. Yeah.
So, right, okay, we're jumping about with the questions here. What's your earliest memory? What's the first thing you can remember remembering?
Infant school.
Right?
And my mum was a good knitter. And there was a teacher there, we had a sand pit and everything else. And there was a teacher there and said, does your mum come for you, Barbara? So I said, yes. She said, well, I'd like a word. And like all kids, you thought, oh shucks, what have I done? Yeah. And it was only the fact that my mum made all my jumpers, and the toys wanted some new clothes. So she asked my mum to knit.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
How much pocket money did you get as a child? And did you have to work before you got your
I
pocket
honestly
money?
can't remember having pocket money as a child. I did, but how much it was, I haven't a clue. But then when I got to 10 or 11, it was my job to do the shopping. And there was a lady 2 doors below us that was sort of semi-housebound. So I did her shopping as well, with a list. And she paid me 2 shillings. And I can't remember what my mother paid me, because it was that what I had to do for my pocket.
Yeah, that was your spending money?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But then I eventually got 10 bob, and that were for a paper round.
all right.
And would you believe I still got 10 bob when I started work, and I thought, this is a bit off. I'm doing 44 hours here and I'm only getting 10 bob, and my mother kept the rest. Yeah.
Take it up with your union rep.
Yeah.
Oh, dearie me. So what was the most memorable time for you at a cinema when you were a child, if you went to the cinema?
Yeah. On the way to Kirkstall Abbey, there was a cinema on the right-hand side called the Abbey Cinema.
Right.
Yeah, and they put all the Robin Hood films on. And I've always been a tomboy.
No, who was the Robin Hood at the time then?
Well, the first one was Errol Flynn.
Right.
And then somebody Green, was it?
Richard Green.
No,
No, he was on
sound-
television, wasn't it? Richard
Yeah.
Green was on television, wasn't it?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I liked that. And then when we'd been to cinema, whichever cinema, sometimes we went to Clifton, but we always went for fish and chips on my own.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Out of paper, of course.
So who was your favourite film star at the time then? And what did you like about them?
Well, I've remembered what they called him now. Omar Sharif.
Right. Good chess
Oh,
player.
and he was so good looking. I mean, he was to die for. Yeah. Yeah. And I was thinking he were in Dr. Zhivago, but I might be wrong.
He was.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's also a good bridge player as well. What makes you happy?
music, scenery, photography, and to see the joys of others.
Right. You like to look at people enjoying themselves as well.
I do. I work with
Yeah.
Bramley under election.
All
And
right.
I did 42 years with guides as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have seen some stuff with guides then, won't you?
I certainly have.
All the camping and gingangooly and all that.
Yep.
That's good.
I'm not a brilliant camper. But yeah, I got to like it.
Right.
But then we went abroad
Right. So, you went abroad, where did you go?
with the guides. First, heck, where did we go? Austria to start with. Holland in
Right.
the middle. And the last one we did were to Euro Disney.
You're in Paris. Or was it, is it Paris? Yeah.
It's
Somewhere
not
down
far
there.
off, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you remember national insurance stamps?
I can.
Do you remember licking them and sticking them on your card?
No, I never did that. There was somebody in office did that.
All right. Okay. What was your favourite flower when you were a child?
Daffodil and bluebells.
Right. Any particular reason?
Colour, probably.
Just the colour. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in nature, your bluebells.
Yeah, they never ring though, do
No.
they? No.
And there's two lots now, isn't there? A foreign one and an English one.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I thought bluebells were bluebells.
Well, there you go.
Well, there you go. You live and learn. Every day is school day.
Yeah.
So what smell, thinking of colours and smells, what smell evokes the biggest memories from your childhood?
Newly cut grass.
Right. Any particular reason why?
Well, I think when you were wandering round your own area or you'd gone out into the countryside and somebody had cut the grass, you know, oh, it smelt gorgeous. And my mother always get blowing for rotten smells if they'd been fertilising. Oh, mother, what you done?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned that when you went to the pictures you had fish and chips. What's the cheapest you can remember a bag of chips as?
Well, I was thinking, was it a penny fish and half a penny? But then that might have been before my time. So, but it were only coppers. It was cheap. And the fish and chip shop we went were down where Thrift used to be at Kirksall.
Right.
And they gave you so much that I had a fish cake and a few chips. My mother had a few chips and a fish, and my dad had a fish. So we got one bag of chips and...
Yeah, when
Yeah,
I
just
went,
weakness.
my earliest memory for fish and chips is it used to be a fish and a penneth.
Yeah.
You used to get
Well,
fish and a
yeah,
penneth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Probably same age as me then.
Well, I'm 80 next.
Oh well, there you go then. I'm a little bit younger. Do you remember returning pop bottles for the deposit?
Yeah. But I can't tell you what company it belonged to because she just collected everything and took them back
Took
to
them
one
all back.
shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea that. And they think now recycling's a big thing. We used to do it when we were kids, didn't we?
Oh, of course we did. And jam jars she took to school.
I don't remember taking jam jars,
Yeah,
but...
I think the school got the penny for them.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never did that where I was. Anyway. Can you remember the difference between food nowadays and the food when you were a child? You've already said that you're now getting ready-made meals and doing them in a microwave. But is there any difference, do you think, between the quality or the way it's cooked?
Oh,
or...
definitely. And unfortunately, sometime between 72 and 79, we'd a bow window and I was putting the flashing back on the top, turned the pair of ladders that I was, well, pair of steps that I was stood on and came down the wrong side.
Oh dear.
So I haven't got a sense of smell now, so whatever I cook now, it has to be extremely spicy or whatever
All right.
for me to be able to
Yeah,
taste
because
it.
your sense of smell's
Yeah,
deteriorated.
But I've never been a lover of meat and potato pie, but my mother always used to put potatoes in with the meat
Right.
until I said, can I just have meat in the pie and potatoes?
At the side. So was that your favourite food then?
No, one of my favourite foods is the same as it was years ago, and I'm not supposed to eat it. And if you scallop a potato and you scallop an onion, and you put it in you put it in batter and fry
Right.
it.
Like an onion sandwich between two pieces of potato?
Oh no, no, you do them separate. your potatoes and your onion, and when they're on your plate until you put it in your mouth, you don't know which is.
Oh, right.
And I love
And
that,
that's your
and I'm
favourite, and
not
you're
supposed-
still...
Yeah, and
Well,
an egg.
Why aren't you supposed to eat that then? What's a
Well, it's fattening, isn't it? But
little
every now
bit
and
of what
again
you
I don't
fancy
care.
does you good?
Yeah, I
You
don't
know.
care every now and again. Yeah.
If you ever went abroad for a family holiday, what year was it? Where did you go and how much did it cost? That's 4 or 5 questions all in one, that. If you ever went abroad for a family holiday, what year was it? Where and how much did it cost?
I don't know how much it cost, but it was, as a family, my mum and dad had never really been abroad.
Uh-huh.
So in 1970, we were asked if we'd like to go to Birmingham for the play, the Passion Play.
All right.
So we all saved up for goodness knows about 18 months, I think we used to pay. And we went to Yesalo for X amount of days, and then we stayed with Pontius Pilate for 2 nights.
All right.
Yeah, so that was the first family holiday that we'd ever gone abroad.
Wow.
But I'd been to Switzerland with the guides.
All right, yeah.
Not with my company, but
Yeah.
with
Your
somebody
family
else's.
holiday was over Bramley-Care?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah,
Place I've never been.
brilliant it is.
Did you ever buy a magazine when you were a child?
Yeah, the
And what was it?
The School Friend and the Girl.
Right. Any particular reason why the girl? Or was it...
Well, there were just girls' magazines that came out at the
Right.
time.
How much did they cost then?
Oh, I bet it wasn't a shilling. Yeah.
Full of little bits of information for girls then?
Well,
Right, how to avoid boys and things
but
like that?
It was pictorial rather than...
All right.
Yeah.
A bit like Bunty then. Do you remember Bunty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
very
sister used to get
similar
Bunty.
to that. Well,
yeah.
the School Friend were very similar to
Oh,
Bunty.
right. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about now. What was your favourite, while we're talking about magazines and things, what was your favourite lesson at school while you were reading all your magazines?
Well, have a guess.
Travel, geography.
No, singing.
Oh, singing.
Yeah.
Right, music. You're a music lover.
I am. But I all the questions that we get on, they haven't got into my area yet.
Well, the
Because we do a quiz with Bramley Elderly Action on a Thursday,
All right.
and I'm hopeless. I get wooden spoon every week.
Why? Well, go on then, explain.
Well, for instance, we did a section a few weeks ago now, and they were quite well known, possibly famous pictures,
Uh-huh.
and in them he'd put Santa Claus. He
Right.
bombed. Is that the right word? He bombed a picture with a
Oh, a
Santa
photo
Claus.
bomb. All right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he put one of a famous charging horse on its hind legs with what should have been a general,
Right.
but it was Santa Claus on this. And the question was, who was the general? Well, I knew it were one or two, but I picked one at wrong ones, didn't I? I knew it were either Napoleon or Wellington, and I thought it were Wellington.
And it turned out it was Napoleon.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
yeah,
No, well.
I'm hopeless at that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the music questions, what band was so-and-so in? I haven't a clue.
What modern bands? Or, yeah. You,
Well, yeah, they're a bit mixtured. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So how did, when you were enjoying your music lessons, how did you get to school?
I walked.
How far was it?
Junior school was about, well, the junior school and the infant school were one and the same.
Uh-huh.
So that was no more than 1/4 of a mile.
Right.
And my secondary modern school was uphill, but it was no more than 1/2 a mile.
It's downhill on the way back though. It's downhill on the way back.
Well, it was, yeah. It was easy going.
Easy
home.
coming back.
Yeah, but if you went home for your dinner and then there were a choir practice, it was hard work getting there and back and eat your dinner at the same
Ah,
time.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So we've talked about your favourite lesson. Which one did you least like?
I'm no good at English.
You seem to
My
be managing.
spelling is
You're managing to speak all right, so you're doing all right.
Well, yeah. But you know when you have these teacher headmasters nights, they once asked my mum, why is it that your Barbara can read extremely well, But why can't she spell? But I spell like you say. And 9 times out of 10 it's wrong.
Yeah, phonetically. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, right, that's your least favourite lesson. Who was your favourite teacher at the time?
Well, I had 2. In junior school, it were someone that was called Mr. Wigglesworth. And they virtually took every lesson in them days. You didn't move around.
So the people that are roughly the same age as you, watching this and listening to it, will know this Mr. Wigglesworth, will they?
Mr. Wigglesworth taught at Witherpart School.
Right.
And yes, they would.
And he was your favourite teacher?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Joan Barnforth was my favourite teacher for music in secondary modern.
Right.
And she also took, I think it was the Leeds Girls Choir.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. And you enjoyed singing as well, presumably?
Oh, I enjoy singing. I do a lot of playing, but I'll tell you about that after, not now.
Okay, fair enough. I'll hold you to that. Okay. Going on to television, what's your favourite television programme when you were a child? Did you have a television when you were a child?
I can always remember Muffin the Mule and all the, Bill and Ben and Flower Pot Men and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I used to like Muffin the Mule, but yeah, the children's TV.
Right.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got your first television? Just a matter of interest.
Oh, crumbs. It was after the coronation, we didn't have one then. So I would imagine 12 and a half to 13. And I came down from school at Sanford.
Right.
And I said to somebody that I was walking with, "We've got an X on our roof." And it meant that we'd got an aerial and a telly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, mid-50s then, would you say?
Yeah.
Mid-50s, late 50s, 57.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you go to the seaside at all when you were a child?
Yeah.
Why the scowl?
Well, I don't like Blackpool. I don't mind the outskirts, Lytham, St Anne's and Bispham and Cleveley's, but Blackpool itself, we always went, and we went self-catering because Mum and Dad never had a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So it turned you against Blackpool?
Yeah, I wouldn't like to stay in Blackpool.
No.
No.
Well, how long is it since you were at Blackpool? Just as a matter of interest.
Oh, crumbs.
It's changed a lot.
I would imagine I haven't been to Blackpool for a holiday since I left school.
No.
No.
No, it's changed a lot as Blackpool. Yeah. What did your parents do for a living while you were growing up?
My dad was always a van driver.
Right.
And I went all over with him during all school holidays. Me and my dad were like that.
Right, okay.
Yeah. My mum did various ones because obviously my mother was one of these that she was there when you went to school and she was there when you came back.
You know what you might call a stay-at-home mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she did put her name down to do school dinners.
Right.
But it took her a while to get in, but eventually that was a last job while I were at school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, going off off tangent a little bit here, has your religious view changed from when you were younger? And if it has, why?
Right. I would say, basically, my religious life is because that's how I was brought up.
Right.
Right. I played the organ at church because my mother, when we were at Sanford Chapel, the gentleman that played the organ was a university student at Leeds. And obviously got it to the end of his... and I was just in my teens, just.
Right.
And they wanted somebody to play the organ. And my mother didn't ask. She told you, virtually. So, yeah, at 13, would I play the organ? Oh, do I have to? I used to like going to Sunday school.
Right.
But yeah, I played the organ, and the minister at that time was somebody called the Reverend Bagdule. And he said, I tell you what, Barbara, you pick the first 4 hymns and I'll pick the one that goes with the sermon. And that's what we did for years.
Right.
Yeah.
So has your view of religion changed from that? Are you still
my religion
as keen as you
was
were?
a sort of a forced meal in them days, if you
Right.
like.
Yeah, yeah.
So for 42 years there are various different services that I had to go to. Plus
Right.
choir practices because you played. And now I go when I want to go.
Right.
I actually retired something like possibly 5 years ago.
Right.
Yeah,
And you've
so-
never set foot on an organ since?
Oh, yes I do.
Oh.
Yeah. Because every now and again somebody will say, you know, and I've always said, it's gone digital now.
Right.
And I've said for funerals and weddings, digital isn't the right thing.
No. No.
So I will play for funerals. I've not played for many weddings.
No.
And I'm worse than bride when it's wedding day. I get more nerves than she does, I
Oh,
think.
dear.
Yeah. So there you go.
Right. So what advice would you give to your younger self? If you could see yourself now as a 10-year-old, 12-year-old,
Yeah.
what advice would you give yourself?
Be tougher.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just be tough.
Just be tough. Look after yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and be strong.
Stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
was scared stiff. We had a bully in our junior school,
Uh-huh.
and it was one of these that fought with fisticuffs.
Oh dear.
And instead of fisticuffs, she used to. I was soft, you see, and a bit scared, so she got toys instead. Until her mum thought, where are all these toys coming from?
Oh right.
Yeah. And then I
Oh.
got the biggest hiding of my life I have ever had.
Oh dear.
Yeah. From
Right.
my mum, that was, not my dad.
Oof. Right. So when you were travelling anywhere, how did you get
On a
about?
bus.
Did your parents have a motor or a car, or did you just
Not
walk
for a long
everywhere?
while. No, most of our travelling was on the bus. We went to Grandma's every week and got the 77 and the 46 that went down by Armley Jail.
All right.
Yeah, and we always went on holiday in a coach.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think just before I learnt to drive myself, my mum and dad got a car.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we've said that you like watching things like Muffin the Mule. Is that the first television programme you can actually remember, or is there anything in before that was on?
No, I don't think we didn't have a television
Right.
until
57,
55-ish.
55, 56, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so
So-
that basically the Watch with Mother programmes, weren't they? They were called.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of used to listen with Mother on the radio, didn't it?
Ah, well, no, I don't think I did.
No, but they had Listen with Mother on the radio, and they changed it to, when the televisions came out, they changed it to Watch with Mother.
All right. Well,
And
I
that's
can't
where Muffin the
remember.
Mule started and things
Yeah.
like
I mean, to this day, I never put radio on. Never.
that. Really?
Never think of putting radio on.
Oh, well.
Yeah. I have an Alexa, and I ask her to play whatever I want.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just pick what you want, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we've come to the last question now. What would you say are some of the greatest achievements in your life?
Right. I love to sing.
Right?
I wouldn't say I've achieved much with that, but it's nice when people tell you that, hey, you're not a bad singer, are you? You know, and you think, well, thanks for that, but I said I'd rather sing than play, but I've played for that many years that half of the time you can't sing and play at the same time.
Right, yeah, of course.
So you lose a lot. I would say now I'm a contralto rather than
Right.
a soprano. 42 years I did in guiding, starting off as a tawny owl and a brown owl. Took the kids away on pack holiday. And it was when I then became a guide captain eventually, and we took the youngsters abroad, and it hit you then just how much the parents trusted you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and you think, grief, I never thought like that. And during that time, I did just about every position in normal guiding. And then I became a district assistant for the district commissioner. Then I was district commissioner 3 times.
Right.
And the biggest achievement I got was being a division commissioner.
Right, and bringing all those young girls through from being little brownies up to...
Yeah, and
well, grown
guiders
women,
as
really,
well. You know, the grown-ups as well.
Yeah,
When you're
yeah.
division commissioner, you've got
Excellent.
responsibility for 3 districts.
Yeah, well, that's something to be proud of with that.
Yeah.
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 Well done. Well done. Excellent. Well, that's it. We've finished. So, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.